SG Child Show is back for its 13th season. Join Sarah Bradford and the SG Child Show team as they explore the world of autism and share stories of hope and inspiration. This season, we're excited to bring you more autism summits featuring experts and advocates from around the world. Go to sgchilds.org.
In the heart of the city, she's shining bright. Oh yeah, stories of love and courage all throughout the night.
Hello, we're back at the SJ Child Show today. I am excited to bring Jessica. And is it Danel? Daniel? I didn't want to mispronounce it.
It's Danel.
Danel. See, I would have anyways. Thanks so much for doing that for me.
Okay.
It's so nice to have you here. I'm really excited to get into this conversation, learn more about you, find out what you're doing, how we can support you. So without further ado, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what brought you here today.
Well, thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it. Yes, my name is Jessica Danel, and I just recently wrote a book about my crazy life. And I started a podcast called Just Saying with Jessica Danel about my crazy book and about my crazy life and about what happens, stories about motherhood. I do have a child. I have 2 children with autism. And I write about it in my book, and I talk about it a lot because it's hard navigating through something you've never, experienced. And I understand certain things that maybe moms that are just going through it might not know. So I talk about it on my website, on my podcast, excuse me. And, but we also talk about other things like, when moms stop feeling worthy, or they have mom guilt, and which we all get a lot of that. I have that a lot.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the topics. I basically based it on my book. So I have so many different things that I put in my book that I feel people can relate to. And so we talk about, I don't really go by chapter, but there are certain things in my book that I can talk about that, because I definitely want to drive people to my book because I think it's a very funny, sad, and relatable topics all through each chapter. And I think, like I said, I think people will see a little bit of themselves in my book, and it's an easy read. I have people said, "Oh my God, I read it in like less than a day and a half." It was just very quick. And it's like one of those things that's like, well, how I'm talking to you is kind of how I wrote my book.
Do you have a copy of it with you? You could show us.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Here.
Excellent. Bucket list from a redneck girl. Oh, I love that. I got to put that up really fast. That is so cute.
And so all the pictures I designed the cover too. And all the pictures are just me, of my life. And there's actually pictures in the book too. Not that I'm full of myself, but it's because, Facebook and Instagram, everybody, what do they do when you go to somebody's page? You go straight to their photos and you stalk them in the photos. You want to see everything. So I felt like, well, I'm an open book. Literally. I always tell people that I wear my personality on my sleeves, and I carry all of my stories in my back pocket. Aww. And I used to always do that. And people are like, dude, you should go write a book because those stories are crazy. And I can't believe those are true. And I'm like, I swear everything I'm telling you is the absolute truth. And no, it's nuts, but it's so true. Everything happened to me in this way. And I would tell it, and they go, you should write a book. So I decided one day to do it,
Congratulations on doing that too.
Oh,
it's
thank you.
Important. I think it's important as, I one time had it was a reading professor. Like he, went and taught all the people about reading, why reading was good, about, it was like more than just a reading tutor. Like this guy was like the reading professor. And he said something that I'll never forget. And that is, if you have a story, you have an obligation to the world to share it, because there's something in that story that's going to be different or relatable for anyone to be able to get that experience from. So yeah.
Right. Because nobody I know of has been, well, I'm sure there's people out there, but start my first chapter off. It's called Never Believed. And that's because my parents dumped me. And I say dumped, and that's really not the right word, but okay, dumped. They dumped me in a drug rehab when I'd never done drugs. Never. ever. And so here I was as a teenager, I wrote for the school newspaper. I was the school photographer. I did this a yearbook. I was a cross country, track, and basketball in sports. I was an officer for my class, the rally commissioner. I had lots of friends, and I never went to parties. I think I went to 2 my whole high school existence, and I write about that in the book too. But like my parents always just saw the bad in me and always thought I was doing something, and they put me in a drug rehab. And so and then when back then in the 90s, it was 91 when it happened. They took my blood work and said, oh yeah, she's not on drugs. So then 4 days later, but I had to spend 4 days in this place with a bunch of drugs. And in my lens of a sports person, and I mean, I thought I was in like prison. I thought I was in a prison. It was terrible. So I write about that in the very beginning, but I truly believe that I've been through a lot of different things in my life because God was setting me up for the things that I have to deal with my kids and some things in life. And I felt like, when I was little, I was bullied a lot. I have a lazy eye. I don't know what you would call it. It's lazy eye. And I was always called Popeye. Like kids were mean. And they
mean.
called me Popeye, which was sucked because Popeye was my favorite cartoon. I loved it.
Well, girl, look, I have these little ears because it's called outer ear microtia. And my whole life, guess what my nickname was? Little ears. Until I was literally in my 30s and someone yelled little ears across the grocery store at me. Come on. Like, it doesn't get any worse, girl. So I'm right there with you. And in fact, I too was put into a place that I was not, should not have been a part of, and was there totally against my will because the adults in my life were being dishonest and were thinking that I was the same way. Sounds like you suffered that same consequence.
Isn't it crazy? See, you'll find something. See, I found somebody that can relate.
We didn't even know before we got here, guys. Oh my gosh. So true. And people probably don't know those things about me. So that might be something people are just now hearing. For the first time.
Well, there you go. I'm breaking bread, and we're also learning some things. So one of my chapters is called The Popeye Girl. I mean, I lean into it. I have I had 2 surgeries when I was younger, and as I write my book, I write it in a way where I'm talking to you, the reader, as I was thinking it during that time. So some of the thoughts might be a little not juvenile, but a little young thinking. And as I get older, you'll see my thoughts change. And I'm growing into my adult self, and the confidence is getting better. And so I do feel like you'll see, man, she's full of herself, but it's not true. I always felt like I was less than, but I never let people think that I thought that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, masking is a big thing that I think that females more than less are required to do to be part of society. So I couldn't agree more with that. And yeah, the challenges that we do go through in our early life, whether or not we can kind of step outside our now lives to look to see how they align, generally do, and generally have kind of set us up for something that might be more difficult in the future, to be able to embrace and say, hey, I got through that. I can also get through this.
I know one of the chapters in my book, I'm kind of telling you chapter by chapter in a way, because I kind of want to touch on it a little bit here and there. But one of the chapters was the belt, the hand, or the hanger. And so if you lived in the 70s and 80s, and that's how my dad would ask me how I wanted it. He would ask me the belt, the hand, or the hanger. And of course, I would say the belt. And why? Because my dad was 6'3" and 220 pounds, and his hands were ginormous. And, it was forceful when he spanked you. The hanger always left welts for days, and that stung. And sometimes my dad would hit me with the belt, because he'd have me over his knees and he'd hit me with the belt, but it would wrap around and it wouldn't really hurt. But then I would cry harder, like I'd pretend like it did. I'm like, oh gosh, that was terrible.
I did
And
the
then-
wrong thing. I said, "Oh, that didn't hurt."
Oh no, not me. I was like, Daddy, that man, no more. And I was thinking like that didn't really hurt, but whatever.
No, I was dumb. I said, and that didn't hurt. And they went, "Oh, okay, a bigger belt. Got it."
Yeah. Right. I don't think I might have done that one time, but I probably learned my lesson is what I did. But then it was funny because I was asking my mom, I'm like, I never saw my brothers or sisters because I have 2 sisters and a brother. I'm the middle girl. So I have an older sister, younger sister, and an older brother. And the brother, of course, could do no wrong. And so, in fact, the back of my book, it says, Marsha, 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 if you understand what that means, then you'll appreciate this book because I mean, it's so true.
Yeah.
I guess I was like Jan, I don't know, but but yeah, that no kids in my family were ever disciplined in that way. And I asked my mom why, and she's like, I don't know why. It's funny because let me tell you a quick story. I'm going to digress just a bit, just a bit. Oh my God, I can't say the word. I watched it like 3 times. I'm so sorry.
This is great.
Okay, so when I was writing my book, after I thought I got when the publishers, because Christian Faith Publishing took my book, and when they took my book, I thought it was at a place that was okay, fine. I can now share with friends to see if they like it too. And I went to Postnet, which is a place here in California, and it's kind of like a Kinko's or like a place that you can print or send mail. And so I went to Post-it and I gave them my book and I said, please print up 5 copies or whatever. And they were like a lot of pages. And they said, come back in like 3 days. And I did. And I went back in and everybody that was there, and I guess somebody that wasn't there, they go, don't be mad, but we downloaded your book.
Oh.
And they said, we're reading it. And this one boy goes, I'm on chapter 3, and so it was like a young man, and a young lady and an older lady. And I guess somebody else that wasn't there, but he also was reading it at home, not just at work.
Wow.
And I felt like saying like, well, no, but that wasn't great. But I was happy to get the feedback. And one of the girls said, I swear you're talking about me in there. And so I just was like, I felt so warm. Like, that's great. Like, that's exactly what I want. I really want people to find a little piece of themselves in my words. And, I hope that's what it does for people. I mean, books are hard to sell. Not many people, unless you're on like major TV, nobody's going to read your book. But That's why I'm doing these podcasts, because I want to drive people to my book because it's a very interesting story. And I'm not just trying to toot my little own horn. But
that's what you're here for. It's
a funny story. It's a funny story. So then I talk about in my book, I talk about my friends and my neighborhood. They're the streets, not the street, but the neighborhood we lived in, we called it Park Circle. And so I called one of my chapters Park Circle Friends. And it's really a testament to how close of friendships we all had. And it's almost like, like the kind of like Stand By Me kind of friends that, you would play outside until, of course, like everyone says, the lights come on. Yeah. Or right before it gets dark, and you come in and you're all filthy and you got holes in your knees and your jeans, and your mom's like, what'd you do? Nothing, and then she's putting patches on your knees, like these shiny patches. Like I could have jeans, and my mom would put satin patches on my knees. Like, don't ask me why. I would
to go through.
I would have blue jeans and red satin patches on my knees.
Oh, funny.
She didn't care. It's like, it's so funny. It's like, just leave the holes. Why does it have to have a patch over it? Nowadays you buy the holes.
Right? You don't even buy whole jeans.
Back then your mom was like, gotta put a patch on it. And I'm like, no, you don't. Oh. Anyways, but that's just kind of the era we lived in, but which is the best era, by the way, people.
Loved it. For real.
Gen X is the best.
Love and hate. It's a love-hate relationship with that.
And the funny thing about my book too is I put little Easter eggs all throughout the book. So like I talk about my yellow Formica kitchen because everything in the kitchen was yellow.
And Formica.
Yeah, Formica. Everything was yellow. It was all yellow. I mean, and then the cabinets were dark brown. So yellow and dark brown. It looked like Charlie Brown in my kitchen. It was crazy. Everything in my house was like either yellow or brown. I mean, it was gross. But yeah, so little Easter eggs throughout the whole thing. You know, I was singing, listening to Linda Ronstadt with my mom's Avon brush. You know, Avon was a big thing back in the day, her little pink Avon brush. But I mean, I just put little Easter eggs in there about what it was like living during that time. And people read it, go, I had that too. Oh yeah, we went down the generic aisle in the, you know, my generic aisle was white and one was yellow. So those were my generic colors in our supermarket. But I digress. I'm going off on a tangent. So I went to private school. I went to public school. I talk about going to private school and being slapped around by the nuns, or no longer a nun is what the chapter is called, because they're no longer nuns, but they still slapped you around like they were the nun, you know?
Yeah.
And I went to Catholic school, but I used to go to all my friends' different churches. And so I grew up Catholic, but I don't consider myself Catholic anymore. I still have Catholic guilt because that is ingrained in you. I mean, but I do, at the time I was exploring different religions and, but I was, I was raised in that Catholic school was terrible, but I talk about that in the book a little bit. And then I talk about high school and how important high school was, and I wouldn't change a thing, that I loved it so much. It was so great, you know. I talk about losing my virginity, which is like embarrassing, but I do talk about it because it's something that happens in life. And mine just so happened to happen in the front of an El Camino. But you know, I'll talk about it. It's funny. I took charge. It wasn't something I was afraid of. It was something that I wanted to do. So I went there. I talk about it. And then I had a 3:00 high thing where somebody wanted to kick my butt at school. And anyways, just like in the movies, like, I'm going to get you after school. It was like such a big thing. And it was such a big thing at my school. It was insane. There was like a 15-20 car caravan on the way to the event. It was just insane. And I talk about that. And then something happened terrible to my high school. We had a high school shooting, and it was one of the first in America back in 1992. Wow. And the reason why I didn't get a lot of coverage is because the Rodney King verdict came out on the 29th of April, and then the riots, and then the next day the riots continued, and then the next day was my shooting on a Monday. Monday. And we knew the gentleman that did it. He went to our school, graduated a few years, or no, he didn't graduate with his friends. That's why he came back to the school to kill the civics teacher. Yeah. The civics teacher that didn't pass him. And so he killed the civics teacher and 3 of my friends. And he shot 9 others and held like 80 hostages for like 12 hours. Wow. It was an event. It was terrible, but I talk about that in the book. And then also, there's a movie that was made of my high school shooting with Ricky Schroeder, the Fonzie, which is Henry Winkler, right? I keep forgetting his name. And then Freddie Prinze Jr. They did a movie. You can find it on Prime Video, and it's called Siege at Johnson High. Or you can look it up. Look up Lyndhurst High School shooting, and and the movie. And I think there's 2 different names. I'm not sure why. I think maybe it was picked up by a different company or something and renamed. But you can find both, I think, on Amazon Prime. And so they did make a movie about it. It's very, very sad. I've only seen it once. I can't watch it. It's too much.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Too much. A lot of things have happened to me, and then there's more to the story. I was hit by a drunk driver. My car almost exploded with me in it, and there's just some other things that have gone on that I swear is the truth. And then I have a story. I have a chapter called My God Story, because I was a brat and I took off with my friend to Utah, and on the way home to California, because I can get lost in my own neighborhood, like legit, it's the truth. I went the wrong way and we ended up in Idaho.
Oh gosh. Not so hard to do. Not so hard to do here. Believe me. I am
I
a
went
huge
the wrong way. And we ran out of gas. We had no gas to get home. I was 17 years old and we made it home, and it's a true story, and you will not believe a word of it, but it is absolutely the God's honest truth. Every single last word. It's very crazy. And I'm not going to say much more because that chapter is so amazing that I want everybody to like, just be like, what the hell?
Yes.
So crazy. And so then I met my husband in a nightclub. He was a bartender. I was a cocktail server. And we dated for 3 years and then got married. We've been together 28 years altogether.
Congratulations.
Married 25 years and staying strong. And, marriage is not the easiest thing in the world. You've got to have compromise, and you got to be friends, and you got to love each other. And you guys want to have the same goals. Those are my 3 advices. Like, be friends, have the same goals, and remember to compromise. And we have our roles. I like to cook and clean and do things in the house, and he likes to do all the other stuff outside. So he does his things, I do mine, and we stay happily married. I have a stepdaughter, and I talk about her mom and the relationship between, like, I call her bio mom, which isn't really nice, but it's a terror.
I do that same thing. Yeah.
She's terrible. I mean, terrible. And we were in court. She would take us to court all the time. I ended up being in court and in labor. I started labor, and she didn't believe me. And my husband's like, I need to go. We need to go. She's in labor. I was having labor pains the night before, but I didn't know it was my first kid. Right. So I thought I had to pee a lot. So I'd get up every 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. Little did I know. And so and I was getting out of the car at the courthouse, and I was getting out, and I had my first major contraction because I was stepping down, and however I was moving my body, I screamed out loud, and my husband was like, "Oh my God, was that a contraction?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I don't know. And so then he was like, and then it was weird. I had a contraction, and I was like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then I would walk, la 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 la. And then all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
And I go, "Oh, I'm fine." La 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 la. It was so weird. And then we were and then all of a sudden this lady there, she goes, "You're having a baby like right now, dude. Like, you were having a baby."
Better go.
I was calling my mom. I'm like, "Mom, what should I do?" She's like, "Go home or go to the hospital." And I wasn't about to have my kid in Long Beach because I lived in Palm Springs at the time. And Doug's sister was going to be she's a neonatal nurse, and she was going to deliver. And so I was like, I want my sister-in-law to deliver my baby. I don't want some,
Yeah.
I just didn't want my baby born in Long Beach. So then Doug had to stay there because they wouldn't postpone it. And my sister picked me up, and she drove me 4 hours in traffic, because that's what it's like from Long Beach to Palm Springs in California. Even though it's a 2-hour drive, it's a 4-hour drive in traffic, and drove me home. And I had my baby, and Doug got there just like 20 minutes before the baby was born. So
good.
Worked out. But crazy mom, back to the story. Crazy bio mom. I talk about the stories in there, and I know a lot of people will relate to all the stories. If you're a stepmom and you totally will see the story. You totally will relate to what I talk about, because it's just hard. And I treat my stepdaughter like she's one of my own. And she did eventually move in with us during her like high school years. And I always say like the teenage years was like giving birth. So I always say like she's mine.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard time. So then we had a son, and then my daughter came along 8 years later. All our kids are like 8 years apart.
Wow.
I know. I have a 32, a 24, and a 15-year-old.
Oh my goodness. And I'm 25, 15, and 13. So we had that one big gap. But she's my stepdaughter as well, the 25-year-old. So
yeah. But we have a good relationship, obviously, but I mean, it was really tough at times, and it was not easy. But so then my son was born. We found out has Asperger's, and because he like thinks like in a concrete he won't think outside. He's super intelligent though, like very bright. I mean, super, super bright. And then my daughter 8 years later was born. Well, first I skipped a little beat. Okay. So I built one of the largest preschools in Bakersfield. Yeah, it holds 208 kids. It was a 10,000 square foot building and a 30,000 square foot play yard. And I built it from my living room. And I had a daycare at home, and then I built onto a church, or I had a church give me one of their buildings, and I did it there for a little while. And then I had the family and the church together. And then somebody said, my neighbor behind me, which I was watching his kids, he goes, I just bought a commercial property. Do you want to build a preschool on it? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I'll build the shell, and then you build the inside and the outside. And so the shell was like 4.2 million. So I was like, yeah, on an SBA loan. And I put it together a business plan. I talk about it in the book. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a degree or nothing. I put together a business plan, and then I got a loan for $700,000, or just under $700,000, for the insides and the play yard. And I was off to the races, and it was great business at first. And then the economy at 2008 came around, and it was like, wah, wah, wah. And then my daughter was born. I held it in. We were doing good for a couple of years, and I got pregnant. And then which was a miracle, because we were trying for so long, 8 years, like finally. And then so she was born and needed open heart surgery. And my focus was not on the school, and I was shelling money into the program because we had like 188 kids down to 88 kids. And it was really difficult to sustain that. And my daughter needed me like by her side at every minute. So she had her open heart surgery. It goes good, but I talk about it in the book. I mean, if you've never had your baby infant child ripped from your arms to be taken to surgery, I mean, it's like, it is a thing. And a lot of different things happened during that time that are just unique to me and my husband, that you won't believe when I tell you the things that happened to us. So that's why the story is pretty interesting. And then we had her chromosomes checked, and they said, oh, her chromosomes are fine. She has no problems there. When 2.5, we found out she had cerebral palsy. Well, and she has speech problems. Come to find out, my poor child, we just checked her chromosomes this year after 15 years, because they said that technology has changed. Come to find out, my daughter has what's called 16p. .11.2 with duplication, and anybody that has ever heard that will know exactly what I mean. Or if you look this up, 16p.11.2. And with duplication, what it means is she has like a mosaic of extra chromosomes in this 16 chromosome P thing, and which causes her to, one of the things is have autism. The other thing is delayed everything, speech especially. And my daughter she's 15, you still can understand her. Yeah. She leaves off the beginning and the end of a word. And so you kind of have to guess what she's talking about. So now I just say, just type it on your phone.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, girl, type it on your phone. That's nice. Yeah, so she had what I thought was, she was cute and unique, and she's very sociable. This is the thing. And so everybody used to say, oh no, she's just going through something. She doesn't have autism. She doesn't. And but when she's getting older, and you can see that what she was doing as a little girl, what she was still doing at 13, 14, now 15. And, she flaps her hands when she's excited. She's just like, does that a lot. And totally, you can see that it's not like what they were saying. She definitely, something was wrong. So I had her, a doctor come in, and he goes, yeah, for sure, with the chromosomal and whatever, she has autism level 1. So it's not like severe, but it's like, and I asked him, I go, well, do you think that she's somebody that can live on her own? And he said, no, like just the time that he spent with her. But I pray that that's not the truth.
Yeah.
But so my daughter went through surgeries. She's going to go through surgery every 10 years. She's coming up on having to do another one. And I felt like I had my surgeries when I was little so that I could be there for my daughter who has this intense anxiety. If she was home right now and she thought I was talking to a doctor on the phone, she'd freak out because she has such anxiety about going to the doctors now. It's like, because she has to do MRIs and she has to do all kinds of stuff, and there's different things for her heart. And she just is like, and she doesn't even like to do an EKG. And that's like the easiest thing. You just put stickers on and you stay still. Like that freaks her out worse than like an echocardiogram, which is like doing an ultrasound. She'll do the ultrasound. She doesn't like it, but man, you put the stickers on her, she freaks out. She's like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, poor girl. She's got a tumor now in her back that needs to come off. I mean, poor little girl's got so many problems that I felt like some of the things that I went through in my life, I kind of prepared myself to be a better mom for her and help her through all her little dips and valley, like the ups and downs of what she's going through. She's in high school now, which is, if you have any children with autism and you're dealing with them in the elementary school, it's one thing, but when you go to high school, it's like they're not as forgiving to allow them to be inclusive in all the classes. So my daughter is in a special needs class. Last semester, I asked if she could do the math class, an inclusive class, so she could get that math skills. And she did do it. But this year I tried to get her to go and she cries and she throws fits. So I'm like, I'm not sure if I don't know what I just thought I don't want to lose the battle. I guess I lost the battle. There's my dogs.
No worries.
The doorbell rang, delivery. And then my dogs were like, I'm going to eat delivery man, I'm gonna eat them. Anyway, but I do talk about that in my book, and I know I went off a little bit of a tangent. But yeah, my poor daughter, she struggles, and so I do talk about my daughter a lot in my podcast too, and other people that are struggling with similar things, and I'm like, I relate, dude. Like I've been there with you. And in my book, I do talk about other things. I mean, one of the chapters, and I'm just going to say it, but I'm not going to talk about it. It's called Pretend You're Asleep. So that doesn't tell you everything. I don't want to talk about it, but it is in the book, and I touch on that a little bit. And then I had a Jerry Springer wedding. My family could not get over themselves to let me have a damn day. So I call it Jerry Springer wedding because it was nuts. I didn't even get all the pictures for my wedding that I wanted. I always say like, oh, we need to have a renewal of our vows. But then I always watch all those housewife, reality shows, and every time they renew their vows, they break up. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Did you have that with you? Did you say?
Oh no, we had a great.
Okay, good.
No, mine's luckily. Well, I'm on my second one, so I made sure it was exactly what I wanted the second time around.
So, I mean, and then I come full circle at the very end. I ended up going back to. I sold my business to the landlord. It was terrible. He didn't pay me all that he was supposed to, and it was like a shitty thing that happened to me. Yeah. But then I went back and got my master's degree, and I now work in broadcast media. I work for a TV station and a radio company. I kind of have two jobs. I don't know if I should be saying that. They don't know about each other, but I do that, and then I do the podcast on the side, and then I am. At the end of my book, I talk about mastering my mistakes because I realized that I made a lot of mistakes in life, and my mom and dad did too. And my mom, I don't care about my dad, but my mom made mistakes, but and I realized this at the end of the book, which I don't know if any of you out there, you have a story in your back pocket, write a book, because I swear it teaches you things, and you learn so much about what things that you just did not really see before, and like opened my eyes. And I realized like my poor mom, she didn't have internet.
Yeah.
She didn't have support groups. She had a pamphlet my dad handed her and said, I think our daughter's on drugs, and my mom's like, okay, and so, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I kind of understand my mom. In fact, my mom and I are best friends now, and we call each other a lot, and I'm there for her and she's here for me. And so that's really important. And I realize things about my brothers and sisters. And I don't talk a lot about my brothers and sisters because really it's not a story that I should tell because they're still with us and they're still my siblings. We don't have a very good relationship, but they're still my siblings and it's not my story to tell,
Yeah.
But I master my mistakes at the very end and I talk about them and I do some bad things too. Don't get me wrong. I've done some bad things and I talk about those things too. And you're going to like the book. I swear people, you're going to love it. I swear you're going to love it. And, definitely it's one of those books that you can share and young people can read it because doesn't have a lot of curse words or nasty stuff in there. When I talk about losing my virginity, it's so PG-13.
That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like it's a coming of age story and I'm just waiting for Netflix to pick it up. No, I'm just teasing.
Love that. No, why not? That's great. I love it. So I just for those of you who are listening and not viewing, jesssaying.net, JESSSAYING.net, jesssaying.net. You can find the book hopefully there, as well as the podcast, Just Saying. So make sure to go and check those out and support her. What about social media? Anywhere you want us to go and support you on social media? Does the book have a page? Things like that?
Well, the book on my website, I do have you can go. There's different pages on my book, or on my website, so you can go to podcast, and then it'll take you to some little shorts of my website, but I'll show you where you can go to find my podcast, which is like Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Google, all the places you can get a free podcast. That's where I'll be. And then also in my website, you can go to book and it'll explain to you all the places that my book is sold. Okay. Apple, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Google Books, all of those places. I do have a TikTok. I do have, it's Just Saying, and Instagram at Jess Danel. If you just look up Jessica Danel and I have like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I almost called it Family Book. What the heck?
You're right. It must be. Is that right on TikTok?
Yeah, I know. TikTok. It's Jess Saying, I think is what it's under.
Okay.
And Jess Danel is like all the others for like X and Instagram. Instagram. And my Facebook is Jessica Danel because that's like more personal, but you get to go see all my pictures of all my kids and my babies.
Doing it. Well, I'll make sure to go follow you so that we can support each other. And I'm excited to hear more about, what's going to be coming in the future and anything, book signings, things like that you're going to be doing.
I am doing a book signing. I don't have the date yet, but it's a book signing here in Bakersfield. It's at Barnes and Noble, but I don't actually have the date. But I am working on a romance novel.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be like a 3 or 4 part series, and it's about the first book is about an ER nurse and a fiery, hot, steamy firefighter.
Okay, I love it. That's exciting. You're having all the fun, Jessica. And, writing is such a special way to be able to be creative and really just kind of explore, especially when you've written it kind of a memoir as you've done, explore the past. Like you said, learn more about yourself and your family and your experiences. And then for that other side, that, fiction novel, to be able to go and use that creativity and imagination and just let your imagination run wild with that one, right? It's exciting.
I think so, yeah. It's pretty. The first chapter is like, okay, I need a shower.
Well, we will be,
but with a shower. I try not to make it too, because that's not just in my. I'm not that kind of person. I don't do that in public, so I don't do it's not terrible, but it's still steamy to me, I think.
I'm excited. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And please go and support her and go to the website. Also go to Amazon and Spotify and all the places you can get podcasts and books to get the book and the podcast, and go to her socials so you can support her there. And we will stay in touch. So when the next book comes out, we can have her back on and do this again. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm glad that I was able to connect with your audience because it means a lot.
Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you so much. And let's stay in touch for sure.
Okay.
Shining bright, oh yeah, stories of love and courage all throughout the night. Her voice resonating, an anthem for all through the trials and the trials. She answers the call, a mother and a fighter, breaking barriers in stride. With love as her guide, she'll never hide. She's changing the world for you, with a heart that beats and strong. Empathy's a melody. Journey we all belong. Followers gather like stars in the night. So bright, 44,000 voices shared in the light. She stands for family, advocates for more. A movement of compassion, ways will soar. Podcast together, a symphony of support. Creating life, changing rapport. She's changing the world.